Hi, this is High Templar with my new Total War Warhammer Mechanics video, and today we will be talking about Vlad von Carstein. So, when it comes to the campaign, Vlad von Carstein is a part of a FreeLC, which came with the Grim and Grave DLC. So, vampire counts on total have 4 legendary lords possible, and having 4 legendary lords in single campaign would be pretty awesome, I would have to say that. So he is starting with one of the most powerful units for any vampire lord, legendary lord. So he is starting with both Vargeist and the Blood Knights, which is pretty awesome. He also is a leader and melee fighter. He is a bit better than Manfred. He's mostly pretty similar but has more life, a lot more life. He has access to the lore of vampires, which is a bit funny because he doesn't have access to the lore of death. However, he is actually one of the people who learned from one of the books of Nagash, so maybe he is one of the most powerful necromancers that are still, I wouldn't say alive, but, existing, let's say that, in the Warhammer universe. But in Total War game, he doesn't have access to the lore of death. In general, if you know the lore of Vlad, he is an interesting person, but I would get that into in a second. He also has a siege attacker attribute. That means he can go straight to attacking the city walls without having to wait for one turn, which is very useful indeed. He has campaign movement range plus 5% as all faction leaders. Because he is an faction leader, he actually sired Manfred von Carstein. That means he's like vampire daddy. And all units of the Vlad von Carstein army receive Vanguard deployment. That means from the very beginning of the game, you can put those skeletons and those Blood Knights at the back of your enemy and deny them artillery and range advantage totally. Those units will have to turn around, and before they turn around, they should meet their ends. So that is pretty awesome to have in campaign. However, that's only in the campaign. I must stress that, because that in multiplayer obviously that will be very overpowered. The other thing, if you want to play him in the campaign, is that he's actually not your average vampire count, and I mean every leader that you can pick, every legendary lord here, except for, normally you would have some either Manfred or Heinrich Himmler. Those guys are pretty bad. Like evil. When Vlad and the other new guy I won't talk about right now, about Hellman, but Vlad is actually not an evil person, which you might find strange, but he was actually in the Hekaran. He was actually in the Hekaran military strategist and tactician. He is of the same bloodline as Nagash. So, what I mean Hekaran, I mean Egypt. So he's not from Sylvania. They actually dropped. He would be perfect for like Vlad Tepes story from our real life, but he's not. He's totally different story arc, which is a bit disappointing for me. But anyhow, he was. He actually get into Sylvania after, like few thousand years after he was created. He was like a second generation vampire after the first vampire queen. So he actually controlled Sylvania through a marriage and then through some political maneuvering and cunning. He won't be uh, he won't think a second before killing you, but he won't kill you for fun. Actually, when people realized that Sylvania was controlled by vampires and that was him who get that control, that started the first vampire war, and he actually gave a choice to everybody who was fighting. Be just pledge your allegiance to me or die and serve me in undeath. But whoever actually joined him was treated very fairly, and he cared about peasants, and he loved his Isabella, his Sylvanian wife. So this is a very interesting character when it comes to that. Now let's go to the multiplayer, because this is a mechanics video, not a lore video, obviously. So this is him in the multiplayer. He has a limited number of skills compared to Manfred. He doesn't actually have mount options. You cannot mount him at all, and this is very bad, like very bad. But this is balancing a bit, because he's a lot cheaper than Manfred. This guy has already, I've put him already Invocation of Nehek, Gates of Nagash, and Curse of Years, which you might, leave out, if you will, getting his price well below 2000. He has two very cool very cool items, regenerating health, and regenerating health greatly when it drops under 20%. That one is problematic, but you might not know, but in this patch they actually nerfed healing potions. So this might be actually more powerful than healing potions right now. And the duration is 40 seconds, like with the healing potions. So this might be more powerful than healing potions right now, and healing potions have a limit. I mean, I think every healing spell, so maybe they are the same strength, but every healing spell has a limit of how much can heal a person, and it's dependent on his health. And Manfred and Vlad has a 5000 health. At the very, it's his health, right? It's similar as Manfred on the dragon, right? So this is interesting. So in one-to-one combat, you can get him, and because you don't have death spells, you can get Vampire on the mount with all spells you need like Spirit Leech and Yuna. It will be more expensive by a few hundred than Manfred, but you will surely kill this guy. But he lacks mobility, so he's like you can see comparison right now on the those green and red arrows. You can compare how much those guys do, and you can see that he has actually a higher melee attack and armor, and health by 2, so that doesn't really matter. But with the vampire, he can take out the Manfred, and probably he can take out any lord. But without the vampire, he would be very... I mean, I'm pretty sure the knight, the general of the Empire on flying mount will take him out, and I will show you how Manfred took him out. But still, with those healings, it's cool option if it works. But the problem is with those healings, because I've done Vlad versus Manfred and Marcel versus Vlad, and I won both of them. Vlad versus Manfred I won without using a healing ring at all. I would have to test it against normal person, because cycle charging is the way to do it. So when I controlled Manfred, and this is strictly a melee duel without spells. Both have a Gaze of Nagash, so they could really do a number on each other. So because I'm being cursed, I will just I won't do that much damage, but I will cycle charge the guy, and when I'm using my boost, I will stop cycle charging, and then again if I'm getting, because there is I was using my just an impact hit to deal damage to him and then retreat. Now I just have all those undernets and red fury on me, and this guy is dropping like crazy and he haven't even used the ring. And I'm not sure if I would be able to do that if I was fighting. Would be pretty frustrating for a person in online battle to lose Vlad like that without using the ring. And I have, like you can see, a lot of health on Manfred still, so I would assume most of Flying Lords will do pretty much the same, and even any Lord on horse by cycle charging Vlad will just kill him, but it will take a lot of time and a lot of babysitting. So Vlad is an option, and he might be finally a healing option for the Vampire Lords, but he is expensive and he's not really better than Manfred because, you know, you lack mobility and stuff. So this is what I wanted to talk about. I hope you like it. If you did, press like. If you want to comment, please leave a comment. And I also would like to recommend my other mechanics videos and let's plays in Total War Warhammer and different games. Thank you for watching and see you later.